And then it's like one less thing I have to think about. It's actually quite lazy to be ordered, because it makes less, I find it makes less work for me. I like when I know where things are in my physical space, because then I haven't got to spend time looking for them. I'm not wasting time. You know, that's one experiential benefit. But if when you've done that, you still feel these other things are present, then there's this question of, well, what is it I feel like I need to be that I'm not being? And is that really valid? Is it actually just as valid to show up and recognize the affect that you have in the moment? So if I use that example of lying in bed that I gave earlier, I'm lying there waiting to feel something different. I have an expectation that I need to feel something different than I am, rather than showing up to myself in the moment, acknowledging how I feel, moving from that place, acknowledging what it is, what that affect is in the moment, not identifying it to anything, not saying it has to be part of my self-concept. Oh, I am just not enthusiastic. I'm not an enthusiastic kind of a person. You know, it's not like labeling myself in that way. It's just, in this moment, I'm not feeling enthusiasm for this. In this moment, I'm not feeling empowered. Or in this moment, I am feeling afraid. In this moment, I am feeling angry. And not trying to shift it because there's a version of ourselves in our self-concept that we're identifying with, that we think we need to be in order to fit something that then gives us something else. And I'm not suggesting that any of you do that, or I'm probably suggesting that we all do that from time to time as well. So there's this shift into the perspective of, and that quality of self-knowledge, that it's a sense of knowing oneself and being oneself is really the same thing. And it happens by being as present with what we are in the moment and acting from that place, not staying in it, not what's the word, not endlessly dwelling on the affect, not endlessly ruminating thoughts, but just feeling it and moving from that place, acknowledging it. As you know, there's more layers to this, and but I just wanted to invite that in. I wanted to invite you to consider that, because when we're talking about this idea of creative instinct, is really, how do you get to feel more comfortable in your own skin, and how do you live a life that you experience as being whatever it is you want to experience? For me, it's a question of fullness, and that's the one that I kind of put out there, because it's full, kind of feels more whole, less disconnected, less separated from things, that one sees that everything is in a place that is relative and relevant, because everything is a fact. Or the world as it is the fact. The world is not wrong. We might not be living in the best possible way, or it might not be optimal. It might be foolhardy. It might be reckless, but it isn't so-called wrong. It is as it is. How do we move forward from that place? And that's, this is really when it comes back to the individual level of how do we move through the world and engage with life? How do we relate to it? What are the values that come up? Do we need to know what they are? Do you need to know what all of your values are for how you are engaging in every moment that you relate, in order to understand what relating is? Or do you just need to be present in a moment with a thing? and to see what is needed, what shows up. So this is an invitation really to consider some of these things.